Okay, for this next bit, what I need you to do, this is going to go in your notes. However, I want this to be a completely separate piece of paper. So the front and the back need to be completely blank. And what you're going to do, so have like your paper this way. We're not writing on it this way. Write on it this way. What I want you to do is I want you to write unit toolbox just like you see right there. Underline it. And we are going to fill up both sides of this paper. As you do this, you should be able to put 7 lines across here. And we're going to talk about these different conversion factors for your unit toolbox. So the very first one, we're going to go over meters and kilometer. Now you should be able to get 7 of these little lines across your paper. I may not be able to because of just space here running out of this whiteboard. All right, how big is a meter? Well, a meter is, it's a little bit bigger than a yard. So if you would imagine, take your right index finger, put it directly on your nose, and take your left arm and stick your left arm straight out to the side of you, okay? That is a yard. Now we're talking about a meter. So now take your index finger and move it to your right ear. And a meter is roughly from your right ear out to your left middle finger with your arm extended all the way out. So that's about 1 meter. Okay, a kilometer. Now how big is a kilometer? All right, so I want you guys to imagine that you are at Santa Ana High School, but you are actually out on the corner where the tennis courts are. And if you look behind you, 7-Eleven's right behind you, okay? So you're right there in the corner of First and Flower. And you're gonna have your back to 7-Eleven. And if you walk all the way down First Street, you're obviously gonna pass Santa Ana High School, you'll pass Henninger Elementary, you'll pass Original Mike's. When you get to McDonald's, that is 1 kilometer. Okay, so that being said, how many meters are in a kilometer? Well, kilo, we already know means 1,000. So 1,000 meters are in a kilometer. Now, when we go to use these tools, if we have to, we can flip these, okay? When we flip them though, it would look like this. Please do not write this, but it would look like this. 1,000 meters is equal to a kilometer, okay? So same thing, it just depends how we need to use the tool, all right? Okay, moving on. A centimeter. So now we have centimeter and a meter. Now we know how big a meter is. Remember, from your right ear all the way out to your left extended middle fingertip, okay, on your arm. How big is a centimeter? Well, a centimeter is right here. If we go from one side of your fingernail to the other side of your fingernail, going side to side of the fingernail, that is about 1 centimeter. So how many of these centimeters could you fit between your ear and your left finger? So your right ear and your left finger. Well, centi, what does centi mean in Spanish? Well, cien is 100, so centi is 100, like centipede, okay? Century, all 100. Okay, now, milli. All right, just like in Spanish, un mil, it's 1,000, right? So 1,000 millimeters equals 1 meter. Now, I want you to imagine taking a dime, okay? So imagine, I don't have it with me right now, but imagine if that was a dime, if we turn the dime on its side, when we look from side to side of a dime, that is roughly 1 millimeter, okay? Okay, let's now go to inch and foot. Now, foot's easy. Just imagine your own foot, okay? An inch. Now, what I want you to do is take your right index finger, all right, extend it all the way out like this. You're going to bend, flex that index finger, and an inch is roughly from this knuckle to that knuckle. So from there to there is roughly 1 inch. So how many inches are in a foot? And you guys should already know this. 12 inches to a foot. Okay, now we're going to go from foot to yard. And again, earlier I mentioned a yard. Take your index finger again, stick it on your nose, and then extend and that's your right index finger, extend your left hand all the way out to your side and wiggle your fingertips. Okay, so from your nose to your index or your middle finger, extended out in your left hand, that is a yard. So how many feet are in a yard? Well, the football players should know this. 3 feet are in a yard. Okay, and then this one's simple. How many inches then are in a yard? And that's one that, I mean, you could just do the math, okay? So if there's 3 feet, there's 12 inches in every foot, there's 36 inches in a yard. Okay, so that's our first part of our unit toolbox. Okay, moving on. Now, let's do a little bit of converting. So these first 3 here are all the metric system. These 3 are all what we call the English system. Metric system, look how easy that is. There by powers of 10. English system, man, these numbers don't make any sense, okay, by any means. But we now have to convert between the metric and the English system. So right down here, how many centimeters are in an inch? Well, remember what our inch looks like. Our inch is the knuckle. Our centimeter is from one side to the other side of our fingernail. So how many of these are there? 1, 2, little more than 2.5, but less than 3. So 2.54 centimeters in an inch. All right. Now, kilometer and mile. Okay. Remember, we said our kilometer, we're starting on the corner of Santa Ana High School by the tennis courts with our back facing 7-Eleven. And a kilometer would end at McDonald's on First Street. Okay, a mile is going to end at Standard Street. So go past McDonald's, okay, in your mind. Keep going, and you're going to pass. There's a little restaurant on the right-hand side called El Matate. There's also a market, and then you will get to Standard Street. Now, Standard Street is just before, remember on First Street, all of a sudden it goes like this, and then it dips down and goes underneath the railroad tracks. Okay, so that street, that light just before the railroad tracks going under, that is 1 mile. So how many kilometers from the corner of the tennis courts to McDonald's, how many of those can we fit from the corner all the way down to Standard Street? Well, we can get 1.6 kilometers in a mile. Now, what if we flip this? Okay, how many miles then are there, say, in a kilometer? All right, well, we know that it's not going to be 1 because a mile is much bigger than a kilometer, right? McDonald's is closer, but McDonald's is farther. It's more than halfway. So in reality, it is 0.6. So 0.6 miles are in that 1 kilometer at McDonald's. All right. Okay. Now let's go back to yards. All right. How many yards are there now? And remember, a yard is from your nose to your fingertips. How many yards are there in a mile? So there are 1,760 yards in a mile. Here's probably an easier one. How many yards are there in a football field? Well, we know from end zone to end zone, there's 100 yards, okay? And so how many feet are there now in a mile. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. I want you guys to realize this is all for length. So this is unit toolbox for length. All right, we're gonna keep adding to this. So that's the unit toolbox for length.